2006 study of 15 to 17-year-olds found that Hispanics have a birth rate 4 times higher than those of non-Hispanic whites, rates being nearly 5% to just a little above 1%. Most teens that engage in unprotected sex are unaware of the numerous consequences their actions could cause and lack comprehensive sexual education. Unfortunately, only a small number of formerly uneducated teens engage in safe sex practices, they being some of the most at risk of suffering the negative consequences due to a lack of sexual health information. Of those that do have an idea of their possible outcomes, many believe that they're immune to such possibilities. Unfortunately, they don't know how wrong they really are. In a 2005 study conducted in New York City with 63 Latino mother-adolescent pairs, Latina mothers were able to discuss certain sex-related topics with their children, such as the consequences of sexual activity, but not others, including sexual intercourse and birth control. Adolescents wanted to discuss sexual topics with their mothers, yet most didn't, for fears that their mothers would assume they were sexually active and punish them. This particular study found that Latino culture and the urban environment play a large role in mother-child conversations about sex. These particular Latina mothers, like many, were raised in a culture not supportive of open discussions about sex in the home, yet they recognized the risks their adolescents experienced in a U.S. urban environment without reliable information about sexual health and behavior.
So I was taught in religious schools, and they provided an abstinence-only type sex ed program. So like in 7th grade, they started out with like that was our first sex ed class, and this nurse came in, and she was supposed to be a nurse. Anyways, she told us like how dangerous it was to have any sort of sex like before marriage, and like to demonstrate that, she like held up this fishing net and was like dropping marbles through it to like illustrate how ineffective condoms were when it came to like protecting you against like STDs. Like she was talking about HIV particularly, and like a lot of kids in class like afterwards were like, okay, well if condoms are that ineffective, then why bother using them? And then after that, we had to like look through all these gruesome pictures of like extremely diseased vaginas and penises to like kind of scare us out of having sex. And then in 9th grade, it was like pretty much the same, except for like even more uninformed. Like we were told masturbation would make us sterile, and that birth control would make it so you wouldn't be able to have babies, and that you could get cancer from it, and that even having heavy petting, masturbation, could cause pregnancy. And apparently sperm is super tricky and can find any way to a vagina once it's out there in the air. And they didn't even talk about homosexuality at all, which is unfair to students who might have been gay or like pondering it. And then like at the end of that curriculum in health class, we were each basically forced to sign an abstinence pledge, otherwise we kind of got shamed. We did, because there were a couple kids who like kind of refused, but eventually they caved in because it's just that humiliating to be pointed out like, oh, you're gonna be a sinful slut or whatever. And then like I was lucky because like my mom, she wasn't afraid to like give me proper knowledge about my body and like sex in general. And for me, it wasn't like I was going to use this information immediately, but I knew a lot of people who needed it. And crazily enough, like I was disciplined just for telling people like proper information about like sex or anything related to sex, like diseases or contraception or kind of activities not directly contributing to conceiving a child. I can't remember how many times like I was sent to the office to be scolded for providing sex ed. Her regardless of my little tips though in the school administration, my mom like was really okay with those. She like, you know, she never regretted like teaching me or like my sister about it, like about sex properly, because like my sister and I are like the only members on my family, on my dad's side of the family, that like were able to make it through high school without children.